Okay, so that selfie stick has taken its last breath, I think. And so I'm going to try to do the rest of this walk with a handheld camera instead of the selfie stick. So I'm sorry you're all that much closer to me now instead of a little further away. And I think I was just talking about gators and the fact that it's your ears that tend to get the coldest when you walk. And so those gaiters, if you wear them like a headband, you can kind of pull them down over your ears and keep the wind away, which is great. And for those of you who like to walk with AirPods in or headset on, doesn't interfere with that functionality at all. You can still hear whatever you were listening to for your walk. And we're coming up on this house that's getting a new roof, so I'm going to step around it into the street a little bit. They've got the sidewalk kind of blocked off. Actually, just since we left, they finished a lot of that roof. I didn't think they were going to make much progress today, but they've just whipped right along. So that's going to get finished. I bet the people living in there are happy that it's going to wrap up. It's just an absolutely glorious day. People are starting to discover that it's a glorious day, and they're starting to come out to play. It's got a family up here kind of throwing footballs, sort of, mostly chasing footballs. So that's kind of fun. It's just way too pretty to be inside. And it's also, for me, a little bit time to think about what the rest of my day is going to look like. And I'm thinking that I may need a little trip to the grocery store to do a shop. You know, I used to find myself in the grocery store like literally almost every day. On the way home or something, I would just dive in and pick up like one or two things or a couple of things or just even something for dinner or one ingredient or just something. And it's kind of funny, since COVID, I'm not really doing that anymore. My shopping has changed, and now I do one big trip to the grocery store instead of a whole bunch of little ones. I don't know about anybody else, whether the way you shop has changed or the way you go in and out of stores has changed, but it sure has changed for me. So now it feels like almost a game, like how long can I wait and get away with not going to the grocery store before we're in such bad shape that there's just literally nothing in the pantry anymore. So we're kind of hitting that point. And we also have a birthday coming up in our family this week, so I need to think about what I'm going to do to get ready for that. In our household, birthdays are all about the food. It's all about the menu that somebody has picked out for themselves, and it's also all about the cake. Or actually, this year, I have rediscovered making banana pudding in a trifle vase. And so that's become in lieu of cake. We've had just huge banana puddings that are really actually more fun than cake, I think. And we've been trying to figure out the candle thing. So to blow out candles now. You stick them in the cake, then you take them out of the cake and you blow them out somewhere away from the cake, so you're not blowing on everybody's cake. So we're learning to do new things and do them differently, and that's great. We will get through all of this and someday have a chance to tell our stories about how the pandemic changed the way we do everyday things, just kind of normal stuff. So the other thing I think I told you early in this walk is that no matter which direction I go in, I am always walking straight into the wind. So here we are. We're walking straight into the wind, and I feel like Mary Poppins, where the wind came from all directions to bring Mary Poppins to the Banks children. And that's exactly kind of how this walk always feels, where no matter where you turn, you're walking into the wind. Other thing that you haven't been treated to on this walk, and I probably should bite my tongue because we're not quite done with it yet, so it can still happen. But usually in this neighborhood, there are tons of landscape companies mowing lawn and trimming hedges, blowing leaves, and it's just loud. So kind of excited that we missed all of that on this walk. It's just a lot quieter. You just get to listen to me talk. I was talking earlier about making sure that you're drinking lots of water and just plain water without flavoring. I didn't really tell you what the secret to drinking water is as far as I'm concerned, because the real secret about drinking lots of water is that it makes you have to stand up and walk to the bathroom a lot during the day. And those are just all sorts of hidden extra steps that you are going to take without even really thinking about the fact that, yeah, you're walking, you're taking steps. You just have a different kind of destination. So anyway, those are the finished up of my hints for how to get a good walk in or get a good number of steps in without even really thinking about the fact that you're stepping. Just remember that they all count, even if you don't have your phone in your pocket, or like me, I wear a Fitbit, so I can kind of keep track every day of how much I really did walk. But maybe some people don't really care, so you can even do your walks by how much time you're spending doing it. And I know I told you about an hour and 15 minutes. It's what we would take. It may have taken just a little bit longer today for me to walk this because I'm just not used to holding my phone out like this. Before I had it on the selfie stick, and that was even a little harder to balance. So I may have been walking just a little slower than I normally go. But we're going to get our 10,000 in. And we're just now leaving what used to be, when we first moved here, nothing but cow and pasture land of a very large portion of the Mayfield estate that hadn't ever been developed. And now we're heading back into my part of the neighborhood, which has been the part that we know that the 6 Mayfield children did all have their homes grouped on this portion of their land. And then the Mayfield home is probably about half a mile from here, the one that he kept getting out of. With any luck, the mail will be in my mailbox by the time we get back up the hill. Because there's our mailman. He's coming today. I think we have a new mailman. I didn't recognize him. So, anyway, we're now back in our neighborhood. And the one thing about living on a hill is that what goes up must come down, but what went down also has to go up. So, in my walk, I get a little mixture of both right at the end of my walk, because to get to my house, I have to go up a hill. And it doesn't look like a serious hill until you're actually trudging up it. But then, when you get to the top of the hill, you get to run down the hill to the house. So I start with the walk up the hill to the street. I end with the run down the hill to the house. And when my son was little, he used to be in charge of carrying the garbage can down the hill each week, and the garbage can was way bigger than he was, and the hill is really, as you know, or as you're going to see again, really steep. And he would just fly down the hill with the garbage can trailing, pushing or dragging him down the hill. It outweighed him even when it was empty. Okay, so I'm going to just gently turn the camera around so you're not looking at me, but you're looking at where we're going. And that's the hill that we're going to climb. And at the very end of it is where we're going to kind of reach our 10,000 steps. And I'm really just excited that you came along. I hope you stayed, and that it didn't seem like 10,000 steps. And I guess the other thing you should know is that 10,000 steps is about 4 miles. So you've gotten a little bit of a good hike in today, in addition to this kind of gentle neighborhood walk. But roughly every 2,000 steps is a mile. And so we've made a pretty good little hike today. And I hope that you might even decide that you can rerun it and walk with me again on this jaunt that we did. And I hope that it's impossible for me to know while I'm recording this just how bad that wind got, but I'm hoping it wasn't terrible, or that it didn't last long on your end. And I'll be honest, when I first started walking, I would get to about this point on the hill and think I needed to sit down, that it was just too much of a hill. And I still sort of feel that way. It's just too much of a hill. But I just plunge forward anyway and keep on keeping on. Because if we stop walking and we don't ever get up, you know, it's that old adage, if you use it or lose it. And some of you may be older than me. Some of you may be a lot younger than me. But if I can do it, I'm absolutely positive you can do it too. And sometimes it just helps when we do it together. And it just doesn't seem quite so long or quite so hard. So I'll turn you again around so that you can kind of see which way we're headed as we go up this last kind of leg of the hill. There's a white house that you can see kind of up there in the woods through the trees. And that's about 2 houses down from the end of the road. So, I know I keep saying we're getting there, but we really are almost getting there. And how about you? I'm almost back to my starting point. I'm hoping you're back to your starting point too, or that at least you're close. We had a lot of storms come through here and knocked a bunch of limbs down in the neighborhood. Fortunately, nobody lost power for very long this time. We got a storm a couple months ago and we lost power for 24 hours. And I try to keep a lot of food in the freezer just, in case. And I had to cook a lot of food because we lost power for 24 hours. So I guess there's the good news, bad news about trying to stock up. Is that when things blow, you can have to do an awful lot of fast turnaround cooking. I had every pot and pan and skillet in the world going in our house for a while there, trying to cook all that food. We had a lot of casseroles that go back in the freezer. And of course, the good news for that is that we have a lot of casseroles. We're still working on them. And now we're at the top of the hill. And we're pretty much headed back now to our starting point. And you're about to see that we can just zip down the hill and we can swap our socks. Remember to do that. Don't run around in sweaty socks. Make sure that you get something to drink. A little bit of water. No ice, just cool water. Drink it slowly. Don't gulp it down. And we are back. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed walking, and I hope you get a pretty sunny day. I hope you walk often and come back and walk with me.